Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's another exciting day here at the house project and just here at the beach, not always about the house project. And let me show you what Melinda has already come up with this morning. Bright and early, she don't miss a beat. So I seen her come walking through the yard and I said, oh man, she's done went and bought another plant. And then I was looking at that pot and I said, that's a pot? At first I thought it was like a cardboard, those like disposable pots. I said, no, that's not what that is. And I could tell it was made out of cement. And tell them what that's made out of, Melinda.
It is old clothes.
Out of old clothes
Yes,
dipped in cement.
yes.
They take old clothes, dip it in cement, and form these pots like that. And so she bought it from some local people she knows over there, kind of help them out.
Yeah, less for $3.
Man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think that pot is awesome, man.
Yes.
Just making it out of old clothes. That is pretty cool.
And I have another one plant over there. It's kind of unique.
Oh, cool. So, I am hoping that you all hear me loud and clear today. I'm hoping. And get my slippers on here and I'll tell you why. Let's walk out here to the beach for a second. Well, I've been hearing your complaints about the sound and the audio, and I knew it when I've been editing. I could see that the left channel hardly had nothing and the right channel was a little distorted, or either I'm having to turn up the sound on the right channel to try to help compensate on the weakness of the left. Well, yesterday I tried recording with different cameras and I just wasn't happy with none of them like I am this one. And so I said, man, what is up with this? I had tried blowing compressed air, those little cans of electronic burst air, up into the microphones and around, still no change. But yesterday while they were working, I saw a little tiny sliver of bamboo, like a little thread. And I said the heck with it, I shoved it into the microphone hole, which is a tiny hole on each end. It's got two of them. And I saw a little bit of trash come out. And I did it again, and a little trash come out. And last night, Mel and I were playing with the recordings late last night. I was making her listen, forcing it upon her. And I saw the left channel increase in sound. So I went outside in the dark and found another little tiny like bamboo thread and put it into both of them and pulled even more debris out. Trying to record around a job site and working and dirty and sweating, these things will happen. It's a dirty environment here right now. And now the left audio is actually even better than the right. So I'm hoping you all are hearing us loud and clear. And I apologize. It started the day we did the Christmas walk. The day we did the Christmas walk is the day that all these audio issues came about.
Yes, I got.
But I hope we're past that. You comment, tell us if it's sounding good. Best it can with this old scratchy voice. Here, listen to Melinda. Melinda, sing them a song real quick so they have a good audio to work with.
Please subscribe.
That's not an audio. That's not singing. That's just.
Please
What?
subscribe
Oh my gosh.
and comment.
And
To
comment.
our channel.
Alrighty then. Alright, so I'm hoping everything's going good. You all let me know. I apologize to you that's had to suffer through the poor audio. So be it when you're out here working with dust and you got sawdust, dirt blowing in the air, dust off materials, sweating. It can be a challenge.
Plastic. Super hard.
Boy, it is hard, like a plastic
I
kind.
want you to touch.
I kind of hard. Boy, it is hard. Wow, that is. It feels just like if it was a fake plant.
It's kind of unique though.
You sure? You sure they didn't sell you a fake plant, Melinda? Huh?
It's okay. It looks like a pig.
So the day is going to pick up right where we left off yesterday, and that's getting a little bit of electrical in place and a couple walls before we cast the upper half of the wall. In this particular walls, I have to get some mains, breaker boxes in there, Each one of these rooms down here, these guest rooms, is going to have a small sub panel in it. It's going to have the breakers for that particular room. And I need to make a trip up to City Hardware to pick up those boxes, because the box is going to get cast and the conduit's going to get cast right into the concrete. And I like it that way. It is so much more secure. So I need to run and pick those up so we have those boxes to set in place and get secured. Then we will be able to go ahead and here after a while, and most likely be able to pour the upper half of those walls probably by the afternoon. Meanwhile, the guys are around to the back side here now, the beach side of the house, and the forming is coming on around up here now. As you see now, the back is becoming a new bamboo jungle again. And it won't be long, they'll be all the way down here to the garage, and then we're going to have to tear off part of the roof over here behind the boat. So I will have to move that boat forward part of the way into the new name. Someone made me laugh in comments. I hadn't even thought of it, but one of our wonderful subscribers made me laugh and said that it is her she shed. That our new structure out there is now Melinda's she shed. And I said, you know what, it's not Melinda's she shed, it's Melinda's she shack. We're here at the beach, it's a she shack. So you stole my boathouse, Melinda. You stole it.
It's mine now.
You slipped right
All
in.
you need to do just
Quiet.
make another one.
So in each one of these rooms down here, I'm putting a sub panel in. So instead of trying to run all the circuits for each one of these rooms all the way to the top into a main panel, I'll put an individual sub panel in each room because there's going to be a hot water heater in this room, there's going to be an air con in this room, there's going to be lights, a TV, a refrigerator, you know, people are going to plug appliances in, maybe a hot water kettle, anything like that. So I need to set these in the concrete wall when I pour them, so they're going to get casted into the wall. So we needed to put a circuit coming in for a main, and these knockouts on here were a little small and not really where I wanted them. So I asked Mock, I said, you know, we don't have a metal hole saw here. I failed to buy one. What's your idea for doing that? And I want to hear his suggestion, and man, he came up with a good one, and that's just drill it out. He said, let's just drill it out. And I said, well, that'll work. That will work. Well, idea work nonetheless. We'll trim that just a little bit. I'll get that fitting in there. Go to the outside of that line. Go. This one's too tight. Go to the outside. Yeah, right on the outside of that line. Nonetheless, it got us a hole in there. That was effective getting that in there. Got it drilled in. Got it on there. It was completely effective. Did I pay it?
Yeah.
I mean, I got to pay for that? It's not free? Got another delivery of coco lumber. Out again. Ooh, some of it's not cut so good. Man, is it a snake? Huh? Is it a snake, man? It's all wiggly up and down here. Man, look at the nice cut on that one. It's a 2.5 by 1.5 by 1 inch by 1 1/4 by 2. Man, what in the world? I know it's a good one. I told you it's 2.5 by 1.5 by 1 inch by 1 1/4 by 2. Oh, They can just take this one back. I don't want just wasting my money there for that. This just become a scrap here. I don't want that. I know it's bad cutting. I think they're in such a hurry to cut. No adjusting on the blade. Huh? Super bad cuts, man.
I go there and tell.
Man. I mean, look at this. This is so bad, man. This is some of the worst I've seen. Better be a, look at this. What's this, a plastic? Look at this. It's gonna break right there, listen. That is no good. Look here, see? It's just rotten. I don't want that. Look at that. Just right there, just broke right off. Can't use that. Can't hold concrete. That's what'll bust our form. Some are okay, and some are not. How about I pick out the ones that are okay and he return the rest? Cause I take this one. Yeah, I'm not taking all that junk. Here, take this one. Come on, let's see. Here, see if you can find some good ones here. I'm not gonna take all that junk. That's junk right there too, junk. I don't mind spending the money for it, but it's junk. Here. Well, I'm gonna get off here and sort through these. I'm not gonna take all this bad wood. Refused all of these right here. And if they bring me more like this, I'll never buy from them no more. We quit buying from a supplier once before here in Tigbawan because that supplier was doing the same thing here, trying to sell anything. This wood here is 100% rotten and trying to sell that. And that guy is no longer in business now because no one wanted to buy from him. Another one, completely rotten. Yeah, just I mean, come on now. And some of these are like rubber, are very inconsistent. But the ones we've seen here before locally that did the same kind of business like that, their business is no longer around.
So I go also, I talk to the owner.
Yeah, and if they can't provide any better, well then we'll find somewhere else. They're not keeping their saw set. They're just rushing, making sloppy wood. Inconsistent. You try to build a form, one piece is 1.5 inches, next piece is 2.5, you know? It's no good. Or one end's 2.5 and the other end's 1 inch. Yeah. So how many? How many were there?
36.
36 still on the truck? All right. I understand they're just taking that from coconut trees they've cut down, the old ones and stuff, and chopping it up, and they're trying to use every bit if they can. But man, my Masuns are complaining, and they are really complaining about the poor cocoa lumber being delivered. They're throwing pieces to the side. It's too soft for the forms. We put the pressure of that concrete in there on those forms with that really soft or rotten cocoa lumber. It will pop and bust, and we'll have a blowout and a huge mess to patch or correct. Yeah, it's not worth it. As I say, I'm telling the truth. I'm hoping he's listening and goes and passes the word back to the guy there. I've been around here for a while. I've seen businesses come and I've seen businesses go. And the ones that have stayed, have been long time businesses here, are the ones that treat their customers really good and that they know they can go to and get good wood from. There's been numerous of these little sawmills will set up and they'll start cutting wood and they'll go out of business. And a lot of times people are complaining because they're just selling anything and delivering just anything. And the worst thing is it's not even straight. There's absolutely zero inconsistency. The wood even down the sides will just snake in and out. They just try to run it by eyeball. They don't set up a proper guide or anything. They just want to rush it, turn it out. If it looks anywhere close to dimension, good enough. And man, that will put you out of business right there. And this place that we're buying from, it's a newer one that's set up again. They haven't been there very long, a new business. And man, they've got to not have that practice right there. I want them to succeed. I want them to succeed. And I really hope that they listen instead of just get angry. But I know it's not just me, because I hear from the locals as well about the same complaint. Now see, the guys, they got to build forms out of this lumber, and they need a good straight piece of wood that's consistency on thickness and all to properly form this. If that's wavy, it's going to make the form wavy. So they want to do a good job. These guys here, they want to do a good job, and they can only do as good as the materials that are offered up to them. And unfortunately, when it comes to forming, this is pretty much what the option is. Well, meanwhile, back here on the build side of the coco lumber dilemma, they are now getting all the way down here to the back of the house across here. The forms are coming across on the back side, and we have been setting up for some electrical on the inside. Hey, Dad. Yeah, we're setting up for some electrical in these rooms. I'm a little behind on it. Just takes time to get some of this stuff done, and trying to find parts, you know. We end up with some blue, which is usually people think of as plumbing here, as, you know, pressure for water, and instead of just some 3/4 nipples here that are usually considered for electrical. So once it's cast inside the concrete, nobody's going to know what color those nipples were. But we're trying to set up an electrical box for each one of these rooms, a sub box, and it'll get mounted onto the form. And when we put it in place, it is all the conduit and everything pre-tied in, cast in place. There's none of that coming back and chiseling and adding and all afterwards. It's there. When it's there, it's there. The thing about the method I'm using here to build is you have to think in advance. You have to think in advance. Every move, you have to think far in advance. It's no just coming back and chiseling the groove and doing it all in retro. You have to be very proactive and know where everything's going. And so there really can't be a mistake, you know. This cannot be just a willy-nilly deal. You've got to really think through and think and don't get in a rush and put it. But the thing is, when it comes to the finishing side, we're done. It looks like it's slow, you know, we're casting the wall. Oh man, they could have built a hollow block wall fast. Yes, they could have stacked hollow block fast. Crumble block, as I call it. They could have stacked crumble block up very fast. And it's easy to slice through because it's so crumbly. It's easy to slice through and chisel through like butter. No problem. It just falls right out of the way. And we're not talking about American grade hollow block. For you people that are new to the Philippines, unless you're up in a major city where there is a big time manufacturer selling some top-notch block, what you're going to find out in the provinces and places, it's a lot of sand, and a lot of times a lot of beach sand with salt in it, and a little bit of cement mixed in. And let me tell you, that's about the end of it right there. I'm not trying to complain on the Philippines, say, oh, the Philippines is horrible. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. But there is a different budget for different people. Some people, all they can afford is that very cheap hollow block, and that's the reason they're building with that dirt cheap hollow block, and they just kind of build as they can go. It fits their budget. Another thing, it's just kind of become the way they build. You know, it's just what we do. You know, it don't matter what it is, it's what we do. And so It's not what I do. And so I'm doing this to where it's top notch. Now, when it comes time to finish, this is where I was at. They're going to be cutting grooves, and they're going to still be trying to add electrical in retrospect, and they're going to patch grooves down a wall. I have a wall over here that was done too, because it was on my garage, and it was back when they didn't like my way, and they're still going to do it their way, and they ha, James, your way's so bad. And but now they've all ate crow on that one. Yeah, they've ate crow on that one. And the thing is, when it comes to the finish side, we can finish out so fast, so clean, because when we cast this wall, everything's already inside. There's no coming back cutting grooves. There's no coming back adding the electrical or for switches or for water. It's done. So that's where I'm going to beat them in the end, is it's done. And my walls right there, they are pretty much skim coat ready. So that is where I really have them beat out right there. So I've been back here, and we have been working on electrical, putting it together all in this room in here, getting conduit tied up here for where we had already mounted in our electrical and our outlet boxes in the walls in the past. So we've been getting all of that in place. I know you're looking up there going, it's inside a beam. It's inside a beam, sir. I hear it so much. These are solid cast concrete walls. There's a tie beam underneath down there that's tied all the way to the footers of this foundation. That whole wall is a load-bearing wall. That whole entire wall, it works like a beam. It's not like a hollow block, what they call a post and column, and then you just fill the wall in between. Those are called column and beam, or post and beam, and then it has just the open spans in the middle. I did not even have to really truly have that beam and all of that steel up above up there. When I had this solid cast wall like this, going from the top to the bottom, tying right down even into our ground structure, it carries the load. So it doesn't matter if there's a little void or something in there. It's not going to crack the whole wall. Imagine, that's my beam from down underneath that slab at the tie beam all the way up. That is my beam, and that is being shared into those columns the whole way too. I mean, it is massively strong. So when some of you are worried about oh, you put that in there and maybe it's going to crack your column or you're going to lose strength, there's no strength to be lost here. This thing is like a mega structure. It is a mega structure. And I'll tell you something else too. These walls, if you go to chip on them, do anything to them here, like if I wanted to chisel in right here on this, they're tough. Even when those guys made a little bit of a wet mix, that is still tough. Interview my Masoon. Masoon, can I interview you a second? So, even though I complain also about mixing the concrete so wet, right? When we poured all of these walls, and now we've come back and we've chiseled on them a few places to do some work, is that concrete hard?
Hard, very hard.
It is super hard, isn't it?
Hard.
I mean, it doesn't matter. We mixed a little wet so it would come out smooth in here on these, as it did, as you see. But man, don't think that it's weak. These walls, man, everybody that's had a chisel on a spot, and I've watched them, it is tough. There's nothing slouchy about this at all. This is like a bunker. So honestly, I mean, really, if I was building a one-story structure, I wouldn't even had that beam right up there at all, because the wall is the beam. And this column oversized, that is because we were putting utilities down the middle of it. And I'd see that big tube in the middle. And so we overcompensated a little bit to have that open void inside of there. It's all pre-planned. Approved by engineers, more than one, stamped in every way and approved on this. The next thing when I'm talking about that, I read the comments. Your PVC is going to expand and contract inside of there, and it may bust the wall. Well, okay, let's talk about that. The only PVC is that Series 1000 drain pipe that's not under pressure. It is a drain pipe. It's not under pressure. And it was already overcompensated in the beams for that to be inside of there. Now, talking about expanding and contracting. I'm in the Philippines. I'm not in Canada. I'm not in the United States. Say, for instance, in Texas where I'm at. I mean, we may have temperatures down in the teens. I mean, down to 3 degrees in Texas and North Texas there. And then we might turn around and have temperatures at 110, 112 degrees. That is expansion and contraction. Here, there's a temperature variation of maybe throughout the whole year, 10, 15 degrees. You know, that's about it. It's hot or it's hot. You know, that's it. There isn't a bunch of contracting between the temperatures. There isn't a super cold morning time where you've got, you know, 30 or 40s at night, and then come daytime it's in the 80s and 90s and stuff. For instance, like out in Arizona and places like that, this desert that's super hot in the day and then turns super cold at night. There's none of that. I appreciate your concerns, but you have to put in factor of where this is being built at. This is being built in a tropical country near the equator that has very minimal temperature fluctuation. So my main concerns: typhoons, tsunami, which would be rare, but hey, things happen, right? Just across that water on that next island there on the end of it, right in my eyesight, there are tsunami evacuation route signs everywhere. Everywhere. I've got them in some old video earlier this year. I mean, that's just within my eyesight right there. 10 miles away. You think a tsunami knows the difference between 10 miles or from my shore to that shore? The same open water is going to roll that wave here if that was to happen. So just giving you a little bit of information. I appreciate the comments. I like reading that because it opens up conversation. And by you opening up the conversation now, we all get to learn, because I'm going to address your question and I'm going to address your concerns. And in the end, we've all learned something. Some of you write some things that I put into practice. I do. I mean, I read some of this stuff and I'm like, you know what? That is a great idea. And some of it is just you're applying what you know in your country or where you're at or what you've had to deal with, and you're not putting in the factor of I'm not building there and I'm building by a different code and standard. You know, somebody in the Midwest is probably not building to seismic activity earthquake proof. You know, it's just differences. It's differences of where you're at. I want to address again let's go back there a little bit. Talking about the pipe inside the column. This is not, I mean, I've said it again and again. I'm going to try to do a whole video on it. This is not PVC pipe. My pressure water pipe here, it is not PVC. It is PPR. And what it's made out of is a huge difference. No chemical makeup the same as what PVC is. And its longevity is way higher. It can deal with hot and cold greatly. Like PVC, you got to deal with a different pipe between hot and cold. You know, CBPVC and PVC. But this, it's one and the same, hot or cold. It doesn't have all of that expansion and contraction like that. And it doesn't turn brittle in the cold as well. And that's where it's really popular. Say like over in Germany and places like that. In fact, I'm not sure if this may have originated in Germany, but it is super popular in Germany and France and Italy and all throughout Europe and countries. It's real popular in Turkey. throughout many countries, and it's spreading around the world. And I like it. It fuses together. You cannot just like dry fit the pieces and pre-slip them all together, then slip them back apart and put solvent like you can PVC. Those pieces will not even slip together until it's been heated, kind of melted, and then you shove it in together. You can't even do a dry fit, if that will give you any type of help in understanding this. So it's not like I've got a special tool that I'm using to melt PVC. I'm not melting PVC. I am fusing and welding PPR. And it's not, I read a comment like, well, he's just making do with what he can get. Or do they even sell solvent in this country? Yes, PVC, like this drain pipe right here, it's sold here everywhere. I mean, my goodness, this is a country made up on PVC here. And of course they got solvent everywhere. But I'm not going cheaper by using PPR. PPR is way more expensive. It's a huge upgrade, not a downgrade. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm just trying to get a point across, because I sense there's a little confusion right there. And I just want to clear that confusion up. But once again, like I said, by opening that topic, it allows for conversation and it allows for learning. And I'm going to hit it head on and correct anybody that's thinking wrong about it. But we have it. We are pulling electrical all up in there now. We got junction boxes we're putting in, going to the circuits, going to, you know, run the circuits to the outlets and things where they're going to go. And then all of that will be capped. Those junction boxes up there will be capped off, and they will be cast inside forever closed away. So here we are coming across the back of the house now, forming all the terrace up above on the cantilever beams coming out. It's looking great, and I think they'll probably work down to the end down there tomorrow, right where we go inside the garage door. And Mop and I and Joel's been helping some too. We've been starting to pull electrical. So Mop's job has got upgraded now from mason to electrician and plumber, carpenter. What else is your qualification? So all these girls know, huh? No other? Can you sing? Yeah, chick boy. Oh, chick boy. That's on your qualifications, huh? Professional chick boy. What about sniper? You're also a sniper? No sniper? Well, I think I'm gonna call this day as a work day. They got about 15 minutes. I've got Mike start putting away the tools, and I think it's time to stop and clean up. In fact, you know what, Miller? How about everybody just come down? Let's clean up all this bamboo and stuff for the last 15 minutes. Let's just straighten up and clean up the last 15 minutes before we go home. Go home for me, it's right there. Before I go home, right there. Y'all clean up before I go home. Well, it's been an enjoyable day. I enjoy going out to City Hardware. They treated me really good. That air compressor that I bought, turned out they did give me a discount. They gave me 10% off. Yeah, City Hardware ended up giving me 10% off when I got to the cash register on that air compressor. Man, that made it even a sweeter deal. At first they said no discount. My only discount was Happy New Year. But turned out they really did. They gave me a nice knockoff on that, and I appreciate them for that very much. So that was pretty happy day for me. Get me a compressor. I got a good quality ladder here now. We've already put that little ladder to use here too. 16-foot extension. So pluses. We're getting electrical tied in above up here, coming around, getting electrical all pulled in, getting electrical put in, and this pipe here is going for that. We call it a window unit. You know, in the U.S. we're like window unit, but really here in a lot of countries, they're just called a pass-through unit or a wall unit. We're going to put a drain tube right underneath it outside that will catch all of that water and condensation that drips off of it, and we send it over to go right into the vent stack, so we can pass on down our vent stack there in the plumbing in that column. Here it is. They're doing just what I asked. They come down, they're spending that last 15-20 minutes and doing a little housekeeping here, getting all the just loose materials that's been dropped all day long while they're working, get it cleaned up, have a good safe work environment and a fresh start for the next day. And we love it that way. They like it too. It makes a very safe workplace, so you get all this little stuff like this picked up. It's just amazing to watch this come along and progress. There he goes down the side of the house and passing on around to the back of the house. This is awesome. And there he is across the back of the house now. So there it is, another day in the books. Another day building a place for years of enjoyment. What a better time, right? What a better time to do this than when the world is locked down and we can't go anywhere anyway. So while everything's on freeze in the world and travel's on freeze, and even travel within this country here even's on freeze, and even parts of the US, while all that's on freeze, what a better time, what better timing than to be building this home. So by the time all of that big mess is over with or loosening up to where the world is free again, we'll have this behind us and we'll be able to go out and enjoy that as well. But while I was talking to you just then, I kept looking up. I just saw something I never noticed before. We're gonna have a view of the mountains here. The mountains back behind us at Igbrus and Leon. I didn't know that. I can't wait to show Melinda. So when we get our roof deck room done, we're actually going to be able to look over the trees over by the neighborhood by us and look at the mountaintops of Igbrus up there and Leon. That is pretty cool. Thank you, Miller. Thank you, Marvin. Man. And there it is, an end to another wonderful day here in Melinda's she shed, her she shack. I'm a happy man. I like it. What you've all been waiting for, your special request, the Kitchen Ninja. That is some lame ass moves. What's this? You look like a crab. That look like a crab claw. Your moves your moves were not like Jagger.